Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama
Vishnupad Panamansa Paripradrakacharya Ashtottara Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj Prabhupada Ki Jai Amanta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kuniki Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamana Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Go
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Maharaj, and thank you everyone for joining us for a Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Friday, October 21st, 2022, at least in New York, and we are in the Srimad Bhagavatam 3rd Canto, 9th chapter, Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. Tonight we're picking up with verse number 14. And we're eager to hear everyone's questions and comments as always. And if someone would like to lead tonight's closing kirtan, please do. Thank you very much. And thank you for being with us, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Kendra Prabhu. Thank you to Haridas Prabhu and to all. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shashvat Swarupa Mahisaiva Nipita Bheda Mohaya Bodha Dishanaya Nama Parasmai Vishvodbhava Statila Yeshu Nimitta Dila Rasayate Nama Idam Trakamesharaya. Let me offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Transcendence, who is eternally distinguished by his internal potency. His indistinguishable impersonal feature is realized by intelligence for self-realization. I offer my obeisances unto him who by his pastimes enjoys the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. Purport. The Supreme Lord is eternally distinguished from the living entities by his internal potency, although he is also understood in his impersonal feature by self-realized intelligence. Devotees of the Lord, therefore, offer all respectful obeisances unto the impersonal feature of the Lord. Om Jnana Timirantasya Jnanjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Tadati Shapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Shagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Pradijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitamscha. Swami, why don't you sit on the mat so that you're not on the cold floor? Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Gapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Kusha Bhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vaishnava Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shashvat Swarupa Mahasaiva Nipita Bheda Ohaya Bodha Dishanaya Nama Parasmaya Vishvodbhavastati Layeshu Namitlila Rasaya Te Nama Idam Fakramesharaya Shashvat Swarupa Mahasaiva. The Nipita Bheda, the impersonal feature of the Lord, is also the Lord. It's a feature or form of the Lord. And therefore the devotees offer their respects to the impersonal feature also. The impersonal feature is also Krishna in a different aspect. Those who've developed their transcendental intelligence approach the impersonal feature, and those who are further developed approach the personality of Godhead. The word rasa is significant herein. The rasa dance is performed by Lord Krishna in the company of the cowherd damsels at Vrindavan, and the personality of Godhead, Gaurudakshai Vishnu, is also engaged in rasa enjoyment with his external potency, by which he creates, maintains, and dissolves the entire material manifestation. Lord Brahma offers his respectful obeisances unto Lord Sri Krishna, who is factually ever engaged in rasa enjoyment with the gopis, as confirmed in the Gopal Tapani Upanishad in the following words: Parardhante so bhujata gopavesho me purushaha purastad avirbhuva. The distinction between the Lord and the living entity is definitely experienced when there is sufficient intelligence to understand his internal potency as distinguished from the external potency by which he makes possible the material manifestation. The Vishvodbhavaya Stiti Layeshu Nimitta Lila Rasaya. The Lord creates, maintains, and destroys the cosmic manifestation. This is also his pastime. this is also a form of enjoyment. In the internal potency, he's enjoying the rasa dance with the gopis in Vrindavan. But he also, as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, has pastimes with the material nature. The pastime, however, is remote. He casts his glance over material nature, sa aikshata. And that's it. That's enough to awaken material nature, activate material nature. But this is also a pastime of the Lord. But what is that? He's always involved with deeply involved with his internal dealings, and only distantly involved with the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the material world. Any comments or questions so far? Can you?
Thank you, Maharaj. I just wanted to make sure I understood exactly what Prabhupada means here in the very first sentence, where he says the Supreme Lord is eternally distinguished from the living entities by his internal potency. So by saying that, does he mean to say that we don't have internal potency, or is there something else?
Well, from one point of view, everything about Krishna is manifest by his internal potency, his form, his qualities, his pastimes. These are all manifest by the Lord through his internal potency. And all of these certainly serve to distinguish the Lord from us, his qualities, his form, his pastimes, and so on. Also, if you look at it in the sentence, although he's also understood in his impersonal feature. So in the impersonal feature, there's no distinction. In the Brahman feature, there is no difference between the Lord and the living entities, because the Lord doesn't show anything. He doesn't show his form. He doesn't show his pastimes. He doesn't show his qualities. Nothing. He shows non-difference. So in that non-difference, there's non-difference. The living entities and the Lord are the same. Sarva Kalavinam Brahma, everything's Brahma. We're also Brahma. Well, there's no distinction. There's no way you can distinguish between the Lord and the living entities, because neither the Lord nor the living entities are manifesting anything. They're just merged in one big Brahmajyoti soup. But when the Lord manifests his forms, qualities, and so on, then he stands out. Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam, and he's the chief living entity among all living entities, the supreme eternal amongst all the eternals. This is all made clear when he manifests everything by his internal potency. It's also made clear even by the external potency. When the Lord manifests his external potency, it's quite the show. We can't do that. We can't effect creation, maintenance, dissolution. We can't make that happen. But Krishna does. So even by his external potency, the Lord is superior. And that's generally what people appreciate. That God is the creator, God is the source of everything. So they're impressed by his demonstration of material power, which is also indirectly a manifestation of his internal energy, but indirectly the shadow. Is that okay?
Oh, yes, certainly, Mars, of course. I thought it was especially interesting also that the first and last sentences are like bookends of the whole thing. They echo each other. He says in the beginning that if you have self-realized intelligence, then you can understand the impersonal feature. And then at the end, when there's sufficient intelligence to understand the internal potency, then you really understand the difference between yourself and the Lord.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the Mudvites would like that Prabhupada's pointing out a difference between the living entities and the Lord, between the Lord and the cosmic manifestation, between the Lord and his energies. So between the living entities and material nature, there's always, especially Madhva is always keen to point this out, there's always a distinction, there's always a difference. So this is seen with mature intelligence. Saraswati says, as mentioned in yesterday's class, again we are hearing about Krishna's relationship with the gopis. And the rasa dance is the divine dance, not a means to express their deep, profound, overflowing, intense, pure feeling. Wait a second. As mentioned, is the divine dance not a means to express their deep, profound, overflowing, intense, pure feelings that the gopis have for Krishna? Is it not another way in which they conveyed their intense love for him, which words alone could not, as if the floodgates opened and their uncontrolled love is conveyed in the rasa dance without any hindrance? Yes, the rasa dance is generally considered a supreme expression of Krishna's loving relationship with the gopis. As you say, it's not just talk, I love you too. But this love is manifested in different ways, in different modes of service, by the servitors of Krishna, by the friends of Krishna, by the parental devotees, and by the devotees in conjugal love. And now we're in the Damodar month. This tying up of Krishna is also an expression of love for Krishna. It's not just words, but an expression of Yashodamai's love for Krishna, which is so great that she doesn't consider whether Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She's simply concerned for his welfare at every step. So as this Damodar Leela manifests her love, the Ras Leela manifests the love of the gopis, and of course, reciprocal love that Krishna has for them. And these pastimes are relished by the pure, unalloyed devotees, and therefore the commentators see in this verse the rasa dance. Although the topic is creation, maintenance, dissolution, and so on, there's enough here to pull us into the context of the rasa dance, or pull the rasa dance into the context of this verse. Anything else? Okay. Yes, Kendra.
I'm sorry to be a last minute, but
No.
I was reading in Srila Vishwanath's commentary and he gave a very interesting little translation of what Prabhupada gives from the Gopal Tapani Upanishad, where he says, he quotes the verse, and then the translation of it is, and this is Lord Brahma speaking, "At the end of half my life, the Lord appeared before me in the dress of a cowherd boy."
Yes. Ujita Gopaveshame Purastad Avirbhuva. Yes. All right, thank you for that. Yasya avatara guna karma idam banani namani ye suvigame vivasha prananti te naika janma shamalam sahasaiva hitva sangyancha pavritamritam tamajam prapadye. Let me take shelter of the lotus feet of him whose incarnations, qualities, and activities are mysterious imitations of worldly affairs. One who invokes his transcendental names, even unconsciously, at the time he quits this life, is certainly washed immediately of the sins of many, many births, and attains him without fail. Purport: the activities of the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are a kind of imitation of the activities going on in the material world. An actor imitates the activities of a king on stage, although actually he's not the king. Similarly, when the Lord incarnates, he imitates parts with which he has nothing to do. In Bhagavad Gita 4:14, it is said that the Lord has nothing to do with the activities in which he is supposedly engaged. Namam karmani limpanti name karma pales priha. The Lord is omnipotent. Simply by his will, he can perform anything and everything. When the Lord appeared as Lord Krishna, he played the part of the son of Yashoda and Nanda, and he lifted the Govardhan hill, although lifting a hill is not his concern. He can lift millions of Govardhan hills by his simple desire. He does not need to lift it with his hand. But he imitates the ordinary living entity by this lifting. Krishna. And at the same time, he exhibits his supernatural power. Thus, his name is chanted as the lifter of Govardhan Hill, or Sri Govardhan Tari. Therefore, his acts in his incarnations and his partiality to the devotees are all imitations only, just like the stage makeup of an expert dramatical player. His acts in that capacity, however, are all omnipotent, and the remembrance of such activities of the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is as powerful as the Lord himself. Ajamil remembered the holy name of the Lord, Narayan, by merely calling the name of his son, Narayan, and that gave him a complete opportunity to achieve the highest perfection of life. I find it interesting here, this discussion of imitation. The Lord's activities are described as imitations of those of the ordinary living beings. And yet the activities of the ordinary living beings are a kind of imitation of the activities of the Lord. And so we sort of have an infinite mirroring of activities where our activities mimic those of Krishna. And yet Krishna also keeps pace with the activities of this material world, especially when he appears as an incarnation. When he appears as a boar, he deals like a boar, splashing about in the muck of the lower part of the universe, and seeking out the earth with his snout. When he appears as a fish, he deals like a fish. And when he appears as a king, he deals like a king. So this is all vidambanani. Vidambanani means mysterious, bewildering, mysterious, vidambana. No one can fully understand the transcendental activities of Krishna. If we try by our own intelligence, we'll understand something to some extent if Krishna helps us, but we'll never fully understand the activities of Krishna. Namani, yes, yavatara guna karma vidambanani. The activities and the qualities of Krishna are especially bewildering for the materialists. They think that Krishna has he's acting. They think Krishna has a form, Krishna has qualities, so he's an ordinary human being. Mudho yam nabijanati. They don't understand Krishna's nature. Vidambanani, they're bewildered. And the impersonalists are also bewildered. They think that these are all manifestations of Saguna Brahma. They're all lower manifestations of a higher truth. They also don't understand Vidambanani. So these are all mysterious. Only the devotees can appreciate these mysteries. That was said to Brahma, Sarahasyam, that I'll reveal to you all these mysteries to some extent. Namani ye suvigame virvisha grananti. If someone ashuvigame, while leaving this world, grananti, if he invokes the name of the Lord, if he takes the chanting of Hare Krishna, vivisha, even automatically, vivisha means automatically or automatically. Then, te anaika janma shamalam sahasa eva hitva. He's at once sahasa freed from shamalam, anaika janma shamalam, from the contaminations of the sinful reactions from many, many births. And sanyati apavrita amritam. He at once obtains immortality. Tamajam prapadye. To that unborn personality of Godhead, I offer my obeisances. Saraswati says, did Jamil receive the full spiritual benefit of calling out his son's name, despite not actually meaning to or directly referring to the Lord himself? Also, can we receive the same spiritual benefit if we remember the activities, names of the pure devotees too? So yes, he received the full benefit. The Vishnu Dutas personally came to protect him. You can't really ask for better than that. And because the name of Narayan is absolute. So even though he was chanting with something else in mind, he still got the benefit of the Lord's holy name. If we remember the activities of the pure devotees, yes, because they're in relationship with Krishna. So if we remember Krishna, we remember Krishna's devotees. If we remember the devotees are always in relationship with Krishna. So just like if we think of Prabhupada, so naturally we think of Krishna. We can't really separate them. Hare Krishna. Praveen says, Naveda kaschid bhagavan shakirjatam tabe hamanasya nirnam vidambanam nayasya kaschid daitosti karichid tveshascha yasmin vishama matir nirna. Oh my Lord, no one can understand your transcendental pastimes, which appear to be human and so are misleading. You have no specific object of favor, nor any object of envy. People only imagine that you are partial. Kunti Devi's prayers. Yes. Yes, thank you. Anything else? Yes, Kendrick.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. In case you might want to comment further, as you were reading this verse and purport, I was thinking how Lord Brahma he's expressing his wonder at how the Lord manifests the universe, and he's getting this tremendous realization how Krishna enters into the universe and everything, and now he's talking about how Prabhupada, the word uses vidambanam, which is really, I'm experiencing that bewilderment right now, because I'm thinking that it takes someone on the level of Brahma to be able to appreciate how Krishna can exist far, far beyond all these little tiny insignificant manifested universes, and then enter into the universes, act like one of the living entities living in those universes. And from the point of view of those living entities who see Krishna performing his pastimes, it's completely bewildering, because it's almost, I want to say, at least it's impossible for me to keep the image of Krishna far beyond the universes, expanding all the universes out of his pores, and then coming and lifting a hill. Because usually when we see someone do something, we think, oh, he's so-and-so, and that is what he does. But when Krishna comes and lifts a hill, for one example, that's just one little thing that he does, is like an actor on a stage in this tiny little universe. So I was thinking how intelligent Lord Brahma is to be able to appreciate the Lord's pastimes and his Mm, the greatness of his tattva as the source of all existence at all. I'm feeling bewildered.
Yeah, these with the greatness of Brahma is shown by these prayers. How he appreciates, as you say, all these um, vast and contradictory activities of Krishna. Here in Vrindavan, they've sort of made a thing of chanting Gopi Gita during Kartik. I'm not quite sure why, but sometimes we're keen to jump to that portion, and we miss the greatness of prayers like these. Your comment reminds me of a comment by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his Brahma Samhita commentary, where he says that he's talking about inconceivability, and he says that Krishna is greater than the greatest. That's conceivable. You can think of great, greater, 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 still greater, still greater. You can imagine greatness. And Krishna is the smallest of the small. You can imagine that also. Smaller than the ant, smaller than the atom, smaller than the nucleus, smaller. But the specific characteristic of Krishna is that he's greater than the greatest and smaller than the smallest at the same time. That's hard to figure. And at the same time, he maintains his charming medium size. An orb, an eon, mahato, mahiyan. He's greater than the greatest, smaller than the smallest, and still in his charming medium size, he's doing things like lifting Govardhan Hill. As a child lifts up a frog's umbrella, which means a mushroom. The way a child picks up a mushroom, Krishna is picking up. So there's some resemblance between the activities of an ordinary child and Krishna. But the ordinary child's picking up a mushroom, Krishna is picking up Govardhan. So there's these things are all wonderful. Okay.
Oh, Maharaj, Gurudas Prabhu just posted something in the chat.
Okay. He does not need to lift it with his hand, but he imitates the ordinary living entity by this lifting. And at the same time, he exhibits his supernatural power. The Lord delights in the residents of Vrindavan, not knowing him as God, Vishnu, Narayan. Yet he lifts Govardhan Hill in the clear view of everyone. How could even a loving Vrajbasi ever draw any other conclusion? No, there's alternative explanations. Nanda Maharaj was helping. The cowherd boys were also helping lift Govardhan Hill. And Govardhan was also helping. He became light. So, it's possible. Or maybe Krishna is a demigod. That's also might be acceptable. Or he's such a wonderful child, he does amazing things. Just like sometimes if our child does something, we say, oh, so intelligent, so such a marvelous child. So the Brajbasis think, yes, Krishna's marvelous. He's lifted the Govardhan Hill, such a wonderful child, wonderful Krishna. but by the influence of Yoga Maya, even though, as you say, it's in plain sight, they can all see him do this materially impossible task. They have some alternative explanation. Yoga Maya doesn't let them lose their intimate relationship with Krishna by thinking of him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They're just thinking that Krishna does such wonderful things. He's amazing. He kills these demons. He lives Govardhan Hill. He does so many amazing things.
Is that a kind of spiritual speculation, though? I mean, I can't even find the words. But it's almost like if they go in that direction and say, oh, he's just an amazing child, it's almost like they're denying the absolute incredible nature of what he's doing by saying, oh, well, he's just a great demigod, or any other any other possible, like you were mentioning, so many different ways that they might be thinking.
It's not like a scriptural commentator sort of pouring through the books and trying to find how do we reconcile A and B, and doing research in different Puranas and finding some way to reconcile the apparent contradictions. This is spontaneous. They at once think that Krishna is so wonderful. Look what he's done now. Or they're struck with wonder and they think, maybe Krishna is a demigod. And remember, these are cowherd men. These are not great philosophers or Brahmin sages. They're cowherd men. So a cowherd man just is they're simple. They're simple. So they don't have to go through a difficult speculative process. They just appreciate Krishna's so wonderful. Maybe he's a demigod. When Varuna, Nanda Maharaj reported that Varuna was so respectful to Krishna, then Brajbasis thought, yes, Krishna is such a wonderful child that even Varuna was respected. They didn't think Krishna must be the Supreme Personality of God. No, that's outside there.
You made me think just now whether Yashoda Krishna's mouth and sees all the universes, and she loses her equilibrium for a moment.
Yes.
Regains it by thinking.
Yes, and it's specifically mentioned that Yoga Maya is acting there so that she sees this wonderful manifestation. There's all the Vaikuntha planets. There's all of Vrindavan. There's Krishna sitting on my lap. There's everything. It's all in Krishna's mouth. This is all wonderful. And she sort of enters into a rapture of cosmic thought. And I've been thinking myself as the illusory energy is so powerful. By its influence, I think myself the wife of Nanda, the queen of the cowherd village. She has all these philosophical thoughts. And then Yoga Maya just expands her influence. And Yashoda Maya thinks, what is this nonsense? This child is such a mischief maker. So this is the sweetness. Krishna's pastimes, I was reading somewhere the other day, they're distinguished by sweetness. The pastimes of Narayan in Vaikuntha are distinguished by majesty, by power, by majesty, by greatness. But the pastimes of Krishna is sweetness. That's that Madhurja, Venu Madhurja, Rupa Madhurja, and so on. There's sweetness that distinguishes Krishna. When you look at the qualities that distinguish him from even Narayan, they're all qualities of sweetness. The sweetness of his flute playing, the sweetness of his dealing with the devotees in Vrindavan. Well, these things are shown in the wonderful dealings of Krishna and the Brajavasis. But thank you, Gurudas.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Saraswati, sometimes it is said the Brajavasis thought Lord Narayan is giving Krishna the power and his protection, so Krishna could do the impossible. Yes, that maybe he's channeling, as it were, the power of Narayan. Some supernatural force is working through him in this way. Different ideas cross the minds of the Brajavasis. Even when they see Krishna shows them like Kunta in the Yamuna, still they think that Krishna is so wonderful, and they don't think that he's the personality of Godhead. Kendra Prabhu.
Thank you, Maharaj. What Prabhupada says here that, yes, he's talking about Krishna as a dramatic actor. He lifted the Govardhan hill. Although lifting a hill is not his concern, I was thinking how, any other person, let's say, of this world who lifted a hill, that would be like his crowning achievement. That would be highly advertised and a source of incredible pride that, yes, this person lifted it. But for Krishna, understanding his supremacy, lifting a hill is less than nothing. It's like, it's not a thing for him.
Yeah, from the point of view of everyone else, it is wonderful. Still, we're marveling at Krishna's lifting the Govardhan hill, defeating the pride of Indra, and so on. But for Krishna, this is easy stuff. Prabhupada paraphrased Krishna as saying to Indra, to deal with you is the business of my little finger. Deal with you is the business of my little finger. So for Krishna to lift Govardhan hill, Prabhupada points out that Krishna is floating all of the universes. Kama Vishya Bhutani Taryam Yahamodasa. Yeah, Taryami. Kama Vishya Bhutani Taryami. I'm supporting all the universes. They're floating by my power. So if as Lord Ramchandra he floats a few rocks, or as Krishna he lifts a hill, that's not, as you said, like not such a big deal for Krishna. He can do this all in a day's work, as it were. But how wonderful it is. Even, what is that? Atava bahunaitena kim gyatena tavarjana. Vishtabhyaham idam krishnam ekankshena sthitojana. Krishna in the 10th chapter points us to so many wonderful things that are all manifestations of him. The Himalayas, the ocean, the sun, the shark, the king, all manifesting portions of Krishna's opulence. And finally he says, Atava bahunaitena kim gyatena. What else should I tell you? Vishtavyaham idam Krishna. Ekankshenas Tatovika, with just a portion of myself, I support the entire cosmic manifestation. So this is Krishna simultaneously so great that he's doing all of these things, and so sweet that he's just playing like a cowherd boy in the village of Vrindavan. Prabhupada says maybe in the past there would have been many heroes who showed wonders in their childhood. It would not be uncommon for wonderful children to be born then. So Krishna showing the wonder was considered one of the wonders, to be one of the wonder child by the Brajvasis. That's a thought. In previous ages, people could do some pretty cool things. Even that Shringi, the son of a Brahmin, by just chanting a mantra, he could bring about the death of the king. So certainly children were perhaps more capable, or they were more capable than children now. But on this scale, still we don't hear of children doing such wonderful things. But yes, that we know that Hanuman went after the sun and so many things. So you don't have to be God to do extraordinary things. He could be a demigod. That's possible. Yes. All right, shall we stop here and have kirtan? And who wants to lead? Okay, Swami Jyoti Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Jai Om Vishnuvad Brahman Sudivraj Acharya Stotram Shri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kunjini Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Gangamai Ki Jai Jaganamai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj, and thank you everyone for joining us. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Jayādvaita Maharaj Ki Jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna.
Boys, Maharaj. Good day.